12, but he turned pro early, so he missed out on about 7 years of Grand Slams, which is about 28 Grand Slam tournaments that he had a good shot at winning. And I really feel that Rod would have probably won a few of those in those 28 times that he could have tried for.
Lefty, right? Was he a lefty?
Yes, yes.
Okay. You had some
Yep.
interaction with him, right? You had some interaction with him. You mentioned that, I believe.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to work for Rod and Roy at their Labor Emerson tennis camps for about 3 or 4 years, and then at Rod's club in El Segundo, California, and got to hang out a lot with them. Lou Hode would come into town, the legendary Australian, and Mal Anderson, and so being with the Aussies was a great treat, a lot of fun.
I can imagine. I think, Coach, your career and the people that you've dealt with in your career have been from other cultures, other countries, right? What a rich experience you've been able to have in the game of tennis.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. In 1980, when I was the tennis director at Tanawon, we hosted the first women's pro exhibition with Billie Jean King and Yvonne Goolagong. And they were here for 2 days. We filled the hillside there at Tanawon. We built some box seats, and that was a fun time. Billie Jean is just, the women owe everything to her uh, for equal pay and the whole deal. So she's a wonderful woman, and Yvonne Goolagong was a delight to get to know and meet.
Right now, Coach, we're just going over your early tennis career, and we're going to get to your career in La Cueva. Don't worry about that. But sometimes when you talk about things that you're talking about, as somebody or these names that are remembered, you mentioned Billie Jean King and that match against Bobby Riggs in 1974. Sure did a lot. And, Riggs is, popping off. Women can't do that. Women can't do this, or they can't do that. And he's setting it all up, right? Because he got beat. He's 56 at the time. He got beat. He got beat good, but it really enhanced women's tennis from that point on, correct?
Oh, very definitely. I'll never forget that night because, I mean, during the week, people were coming up to me and, so do you think the old guy can do it? Oh, the old guy's just going to wipe her out. And I said, well, I'm going to put money on Billie Jean, because obviously she was younger. And at the time, she was one of the top 2 or 3 players in the world. And no, it did a tremendous thing for tennis. After that, racket sales went up, all kinds of different rackets were made. Jimmy Connors had that T2000, that steel racket, and then there was aluminum rackets and fiberglass rackets. And
Wow.
from there, the wooden era was pretty much over.
And it didn't
Yeah.
take long for that, right? Because the wooden era lasted. You mentioned Dunlop, some of the rackets. I remember my sister had a Dunlop, I believe. She used to play a little bit. But that wooden era, when it was over, it ended rather quickly, Coach.
Yeah, it was on after that. In the mid 70s and early 80s were probably the highest time for the growth of of professional tennis, but tennis recreationally. I mean, the figures just jumped with the United States Tennis Association, their participation numbers. It was huge.
Have you seen a rise in high school tennis? You've been a coach for 33 years. How has that changed over the years where participation in tennis might not have been so huge back when you started? Where's it at now?
Well, that definitely helped, and tennis with the programs that are offered with the USTA, our Northern New Mexico Tennis Association. We have junior team tennis in the summer. There's mid-school tennis in the fall. In fact, that'll be starting up pretty soon.
Wow.
Pretty soon, and of course the JV program is run by the Northern New Mexico APS. Hasn't taken JV tennis yet, but so there's a lot more activities for kids and for participation, and I know I do some tennis camps in the summer, and our numbers are always pretty good.
Coach, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get more. I promise. I promised you into your La Cueva coaching career after these messages on the sports desk.
Sounds great, Ed.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Style roofing tops them all. When your roof's worn out and needs to be replaced, we're gonna do it right, put a smile on your face. There at home, things are looking up when you get your roof done by someone you can trust. Dream Style, a company name that's been around forever. No one does it better. You need a new roof, you know who to call. Dream Style roofing tops them all.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Back to the Sports Desk live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook under host Ed Nunez. Today's very special guest, the Cueva boys tennis coach Dick Johnson. He's been in that position for 33 years. And Coach, we got a little bit lost in those weeds with some of the people you mentioned. Rod Laver, who's still, he's 82 and he's still active, and Billie Jean King, Yvonne Goolagong. You have to mention those things. Those are some people that you had some contact with in your long, storied career as a tennis coach. And, I wanted to we're going to get some pictures up here. You just had some kids in junior tennis, but, I did want to mention this. 2022, you're elected in the Southwest USPTA Hall of Fame. 2019, La Cueva Sports Hall of Fame. 2008, elected into the Southwest USTA Tennis Hall of Fame. 2017, High School Coach of the Year by the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame. 2016, named High School Tennis Coach of the Year. So 11 state championships, Coach. 11 state championships. And I'll tell you what, there's some pictures there of some of your juniors. But, Coach, some coaches, it's not easy to win one blue trophy, right? It's not easy. 11 people would kill for, man. Talk a little bit about, each championship's important, right? Great pictures there you sent us, by the way. Talk to us a little about winning championships, what it meant to you and especially your players.
Well, it's always an honor to represent La Cueva, and I've had some tremendous young people over the years. Every year it's a little bit different situation. In 2020, I thought maybe my best team on paper, and then boop, there it went. Nothing happened. Obviously, we didn't have any state championships in 2020, but We've been lucky. We had a good run from 14 through 17. El Dorado got us in 18, and we came back in 19. And of course, 2020 was COVID, and 21 and 22 we were able to win the state championship in the team event. So it takes a team, and I always try and stress that to my kids. It's great to be the number one player on your ladder or number two, but boy, the 3, 4, 5, and 6, and those number 2 and 3 doubles are just as important. That's what wins matches for you, because you play 6 singles matches, then you play 3 doubles matches. So the magic number is 5, to win 5 out of 9 matches. And this last year, we were very fortunate that we swept all 3 matches of the state team championships.
You're just coming off a state championship then.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Congratulations. And it's, again, 11 state championships. Coaches do that. They mentioned the ones that got away, right? Even though you've won 11, 2020 is still in the back of your mind. And, championships that maybe we should have won. And then maybe some you won that you shouldn't have. And those things happen, right? Any championship quest or is pockmarked with divots along the way, and you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, that's for sure. It's long enough season, injuries might prevail there, and you've got situations. Hopefully the kids stay very strong academically, and we've been blessed on a whole with having some really good student athletes, and that's really important, because obviously if you get an F or get below that 2.0 average, you're gone, and there's no questions asked on that. So the kids have to maintain their grades. That's number one priority, academics, and we've been fortunate to be real lucky with that situation.
Coach, La Cueva, everybody knows, has got some fantastic athletes, right? It's had a rich history since its opening in 1986. Athletes all across the board. What do you attribute 11 championships, your success? You mentioned academic support from administration. You got to have the horses too, right? You got to have the players. What do you attribute that 11 championships success? What do you attribute it to, besides the things that we mentioned? You have to have the players too as well, and the commitment to the game.
Thank you. And yes, you have to get to know your PE teachers at the elementary school, and your mid-school PE teachers, and the programs that they run. You've got to support their programs, and hopefully you get some of their kids that come to your tennis camps in the summer, which we've had some great success. Some of these kids, when they graduate as seniors, I've known them for maybe 8 or 9 years because of tennis programs that we've offered. And that's the real key. That's the real key, is to start early and to stay with the youngsters.
Coach, it's a tough game to master. I remember, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but the movie Richard Williams, this coach says there's 228 shots that you have to master, right? And a lot of players start young and early. Talk a little bit about that, because the game, I only watch, right? But when I heard that 228 shots, I'm like, man, that's a lot of learning and teaching. Talk a little bit about the commitment to the game that your players have obviously had to learn to be coached. Got to be coachable in that game, right? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's very true, and the basic thing and techniques of tennis, your early preparation, your contact point, and your follow through. There's many ways to achieve that. Now, in the old days, you used to just teach a closed stance, and now there's neutral stance, and there's an open stance, and still the closed stance. And your serve is very, very important. Obviously, consistency is important. A lot of times you can win a match. Maybe you're not the one that hits the ball the hardest or has the hardest serve, but son of a gun, you get the ball back, and that's what it's all about. And Richard Williams is a character. He worked extremely hard in difficult conditions to get those two young ladies to become two of the greatest players of all time. In fact, Serena announced her retirement. I think it was yesterday.
Oh, after she won. She announced her retirement.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to play the second round. She probably play it through, but I think she's going to pretty much curtail everything after the U.S. Open. And
Wow.
also Venus, her older sister, who's been a tremendous credit to the game.
Wow. We did ask you this. I asked you this before. You said the tennis was about a 7 out of 10. You felt in the movie Richard Williams. I saw it 3 times. I love it. And Will Smith's been taken to task about what he did on stage, right? I get it at the Oscars. He apologized. This is a separate issue as far as the movie itself. I could watch that and separate those two. I thought he was fantastic. I'll watch it again and again and again because I love sports movies. Give us your opinion on what you saw and what you felt the movie Richard Williams. What did you see?
No, the movie was tremendous. It had a great, it had a natural punchline, of an underdog, fighting their way up through all the different situations. And no, it was a good movie. When I rated it a 7, on tennis technique, you can be very critical as a coach. And Will Smith, when he would handle the ball and at the tennis court, and you could tell that he hadn't played tennis very much. But that's neither here nor there. The story was a great story, and it's nice to see a movie that's a feel-good movie once in a while.
We need more of that. Coach, we got a few minutes left. Yeah, we really do, right? We need great moments in this country. There's been a lot. We need to remember that. We are Americans, man, right? We need to remember that, and we have a great country here still. The Cueva, what success you've had, what respect we have for you. Your plans ahead the next years, you're still going to, the Cueva tennis coming up in 2023. What's your season going to be like?
Well, we'll have a very young team, and we'll be tested extremely. This won't be my strongest team up above, but my top 2 or 3 players have really improved, and we've got 4 or 5 months to work, to improve, and then starting the first week of March, we'll be back at it again. And I want to commend Albuquerque Public Schools athletics because we are going to get to play a few more matches this year. It's always hard because the Albuquerque teams play maybe 8 or 9 dual matches, and the Southern teams play about 20. So now I think we're going to be able to get loosened up a little bit and maybe travel just a little bit more, and which is going to be great.
Talk a little bit about the weather elements too, because there's no indoor bubble in Cueva yet for tennis, right? So it's not always the easiest thing, right? Coach Gerard Pineda's got to deal with that. So does Brandon back outside in the wind, the elements, and up there by the mountains. Sometimes that wind is gonna rip through. Talk a little bit about having to practice in the elements for 33 years.
Well, sometimes it gets a little rough. Tennis ball isn't like a baseball or a football. I mean, tennis ball really flies in the wind. So when that wind, rips down Wilshire there, it's a little rough. Yeah, we've had some kind of crazy practices. It's not the most ideal sometimes in February and in March, that's for sure. I know the APS singles one year, I think we played the finals, and it was snowing heavily the last 2 or 3 games. So it can be kind of crazy in the springtime.
You got to go out and dry the court, and you got to squeegee it. I was at a tennis match about a month and a half ago over there on Louisiana and Southeast, and man, you got to do a lot of work after it rains to get the court dry.
Yeah, that's true. It can be pretty challenging sometimes. That is for sure.
I'll tell you what, Coach, what an outstanding career that you've had. What's kept you going for 30? That's a long time. Some people are still enthusiastic about 34. You're 34, 35, 36, however long it may last. What's kept Coach Johnson glued in and into coaching as long as you have?
Well, obviously, I have a love of the sport, and I have great backing from my wife, Marcy, and
better have that.
In fact, my little Shih Tzu just jumped on my lap, so he wants to participate in this broadcast. But the support is been tremendous, and when you enjoy what you're doing, you want to keep doing it. And I think I'll know that when the time comes. They always say that you'll kind of get that feeling, but right now I've got a lot of good thoughts about the coming season, and I hope that we'll have a good year.
Cueva Boys tennis coach Dick Johnson, we thank you so much for being our guest today on the Sports Desk.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure, and we'll hope to see you soon at the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame banquet.
Yes, sir. I shall be there. Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be our MC. Thanks, Ed.
Yes, sir. Going to be fun. For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.